Life is a constant dance of change, an ever-evolving journey that we all partake in. Sometimes this change is gradual, a slow unfolding like the bloom of a flower, delicate and almost imperceptible. Yet at other times change arrives with the force of a tidal wave, pushing us out of familiar waters and into the unknown, challenging our very existence. These are the times of crisis, periods of immense pressure that can shatter old forms and give rise to something entirely new, reshaping the world as we know it. Throughout the history of our planet, life itself has been shaped by such crises. Extinction events, climate shifts, and geological upheavals have all played their part in the grand evolutionary story, each leaving an indelible mark on the tapestry of life. These periods of intense difficulty, though seemingly destructive, also serve as catalysts for profound transformation, sparking new beginnings. Consider the dinosaurs, once masters of their domain, ruling the earth with unparalleled dominance. Their reign came to an abrupt end, paving the way for the emergence of mammals, who would go on to diversify and thrive. What seemed like an ending was, in fact, a new beginning, a fresh chapter in the story of life. The very forces that brought about their demise created the conditions for a different form of life to flourish, showcasing nature's resilience. Crises, then, are not merely times of suffering. They are moments that test our limits, and they are also opportunities for rebirth, for renewal, and for growth. They are the crucibles in which life is tested, refined, and ultimately transformed into something stronger, more resilient, and more adaptable, ready to face the future. One of the most dramatic examples of crisis-driven evolution is the transition of life from water to land. This monumental shift marked a pivotal moment in the history of life on Earth. Imagine the primordial soup, teeming with creatures perfectly adapted to their aquatic environment. These waters were a cradle of life, nurturing a diverse array of species. Then picture the slow, relentless changes that began to push some of these creatures towards the shore. Over countless generations, subtle shifts in their environment nudged them closer to the land. Perhaps it was a receding shoreline, shrinking their watery world. As water levels dropped, these creatures faced new challenges and opportunities. Or maybe it was the lure of new food sources on land. The promise of untapped resources could have driven them to explore beyond their aquatic confines. Whatever the cause, this transition was no small feat. It required overcoming significant physiological and environmental hurdles. It demanded a radical adaptation, a complete overhaul of their physiology and behavior. These pioneers of evolution had to develop new ways to move, breathe, and survive. Gills, so effective in water, had to evolve into lungs capable of breathing air. This transformation was crucial for their survival on land. Fins, once used for swimming, gradually transformed into limbs for walking on solid ground. This adaptation allowed them to explore new territories. This was not a swift transition, but a gradual process of adaptation spanning millions of years. Each small change built upon the last, leading to significant evolutionary advancements. Yet, driven by necessity and the relentless pressure of a changing environment, life found a way. The resilience and adaptability of these early pioneers set the stage for future terrestrial life. What emerged from this crucible were creatures capable of surviving and thriving in a completely new world, a world of air, gravity, and vast landscapes ripe for exploration. This evolutionary leap paved the way for the incredible diversity of life we see on land today. Today, humanity stands at a similar crossroads. We face a convergence of crises that threaten the very fabric of our civilization and the delicate balance of our planet. Climate change, social unrest, economic inequality, and a deepening spiritual crisis all point to the urgent need for a profound transformation. We can no longer afford to cling to outdated ways of thinking and being. The old paradigms that once served us now threaten our very survival. Just as the creatures of the sea were compelled to evolve, we too are being called upon to make a leap in consciousness, to transcend the limitations of our current state of being. This is not a time for despair, but a time for courage and awakening. The crises we face are not punishments but rather wake-up calls, urging us to evolve beyond our present limitations and embrace a new way of being. Beyond belief, a new consciousness. This transformation, however, is not about adopting new beliefs, ideologies, or religions. It is not about joining a movement or following a charismatic leader. It is about something far more radical and profound, a shift in consciousness itself. We live in a world dominated by the mind, a world obsessed with thought, analysis, and judgment. While the mind is a powerful tool, it has also become a source of immense suffering. It is the mind that divides, that creates conflict, that perpetuates fear and anxiety. The transformation we need goes beyond the limitations of the thinking mind. It is about accessing a deeper dimension of ourselves, a realm of stillness and presence that lies beyond the incessant chatter of thought. It is about awakening to the truth of who we are, beings of pure consciousness, interconnected with all of life. The ego's grip. The primary obstacle to this awakening is the ego, the illusory sense of self that we create through identification with our thoughts, emotions, and experiences. The ego is the voice in our heads that constantly judges, compares, and seeks to control. It is the source of our fears, desires, and attachments. The ego thrives on separation. It tells us that we are separate from others, separate from nature, and separate from the source of life itself. This illusion of separation is the root of much of the suffering and dysfunction in the world. To transcend the ego is not to eradicate it, but rather to recognize its illusory nature. It is to see through the thoughts and beliefs that create the sense of a separate self. As we disidentify from the ego, we begin to experience a deeper sense of connection to ourselves, to others, and to the web of life. A new heaven and a new earth. This collective shift in consciousness is not just a nice idea, it is an evolutionary imperative. It is a call to awaken to a higher state of being, one that transcends the limitations of our current reality. It is the key to creating a world where humanity can thrive in harmony with itself and with the planet. This harmony is essential for our survival and for the well-being of future generations. This transformation is also echoed in ancient spiritual traditions, including the biblical prophecy of a new heaven and a new earth. These traditions have long foretold a time of great change and renewal. This prophecy speaks of a time when the old ways of being will fall away and a new reality will dawn. It is a vision of a world where love, compassion, and understanding prevail. It is not a literal description of a physical event, but rather a symbolic representation of a profound inner transformation. This inner change is the foundation for outer change. It points to a time when humanity will awaken from its egoic slumber and recognize its true nature as one with the divine. This awakening is the key to unlocking our highest potential. This new heaven and new earth are not separate from the world we live in. They are intertwined with our everyday experiences and interactions. They are not some distant utopia. They are a reality that we can co-create through our thoughts, actions, and intentions. They are available to us right here, right now, in the depths of the present moment. By being fully present, we can tap into this new reality. As we individually and collectively awaken to our true nature, we bring this new reality into being. Together we can create a world that reflects the highest aspirations of the human spirit. The dance of consciousness. Human consciousness and the fate of our planet are inextricably intertwined. The state of the planet is a reflection of the state of our collective consciousness. As we pollute our environment, we pollute our minds. As we exploit the Earth's resources, we exploit each other. The good news is that the reverse is also true. As we heal ourselves, we heal the planet. As we cultivate inner peace, compassion, and love, we radiate these qualities outward, creating ripples of transformation that extend far beyond ourselves. The choice is ours. We can continue down the path of ego-driven separation and destruction, or we can choose the path of awakening, unity, and love. The future of our planet, and indeed the future of humanity, depends on the choices we make today.